everyone. Welcome to the book tour interview with guest author Helen Kelly. Helen has a book tour in The Book Dragon and it'll also be in The Hippie and the Witch all week. Welcome, Helen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be discussing your book, Hold Me, and the series around it, Green Grove. And you very kindly agreed to answer some questions for me. So I'll go ahead with those if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So Hold Me is the third book in the Green Grove setting. And for the viewers who aren't familiar with it, can you introduce them to this world?
Yeah, so Green Grove's a fictional village. When it was first written, it didn't actually have a home. Its home is now in Yorkshire. Because when I first started writing it, we were in the process of moving, and because we didn't know where we were moving to, it was difficult to work out where it was set. So it's now set in Yorkshire, and it's a lovely little quaint little village where gossip is rife, but it's not nasty gossip, it's lovely gossip. But it's funny gossip at sometimes, but it's well-meaning gossip. And everybody knows everybody, and the majority of the people have lived there all their lives. There's a few new people, but as I say new, what the newest person's moved into the village 8 years ago. There's a lovely river that runs through it. The first book, A Special Place, is based on my special place, but along the river is a lovely little hidden bench, and that is the special place that is the special place in the first book. And that is James and Lacey's story. James is the publican of the village pub, and Lacey owns a sort of, I've forgotten the word, a party planning business. She runs a party
Yeah.
planning business, events planning business, and that's their story, and it's all written in the first person, but you've got both versions of the story. And book 2 is Jane and David's story, and David owns the Fish by the River, which is the local restaurant, and Jane is a school teacher, a music teacher. She's also the local choir master. And book 3, Hold Me, which is what this book tour's about, is Dawn's story, and she's a twin. She's got a twin called Debbie, and it's Dawn's story with Connor, and Connor's the local policeman.
So some wonderful characters in the village there. Can you tell me some more about the main character in Hold Me of Dawn?
Yeah, the book starts with Dawn, who's been poorly for about a year, and she actually, in the first part of the book, she actually gets diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which I actually have. And the start of the book takes you through her diagnosis. Now, everyone's diagnosis of fibromyalgia is completely different, so it's not a carte blanche way to be diagnosed as fibromyalgia, but it takes you through her diagnosis and the way she was feeling and stuff like that, and her relationship with her sister and her friends, and how she felt with being diagnosed with fibro, and how she realized, well, in her world, she thought that her world had ended because she had all these, she'd put off having children and things like that, because she'd seen her elder sister, well, not her elder sister, her twin sister, who had been hurt by love, and she'd thought that she couldn't deal with that at that time, and she'd put that off and put that off, and then she thought that she'd never get that chance. So that's Dawn's story. And then Connor came along, and Connor is a lovely boy, Connor. He was a young carer when he was at school. He used to care for his mum, who also has fibro, and he used to care for his mum, so he knows all about fibro and everything. And although they went to the same school, they didn't really sort of mix that well. They knew of each other, but they didn't really sort of talk to each other that much because they weren't in the same year. So it was sort of when he he first met her, it was sort of like, although they knew of each other, they didn't kind of mix that well. And he understood her condition, and it took the pressure off her, realizing that there is actually someone there that can be with her, that can understand the condition, and it took the pressure off that.
Well, thank you for explaining about that. And like Dawn and Connor's mother, you yourself have fibromyalgia, as you said. Could you share with our viewers what it's like to have this condition?
It's interesting, to say the least. For me, I mean, it's difficult because nobody's fibro is the same.
Mhm.
Everybody has different things. I have a few other conditions as well. I started off I was diagnosed of having chronic fatigue in 2012, and then I was diagnosed with having fibro during COVID, which was not the best time to be diagnosed with having fibro, or anything, to be honest. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was diagnosed over the telephone, which actually, to be honest, some of my um, uh, experiences I used during writing about Dawn and that lot. So it's I always say no two days are the same, but it's not even no 2 days are the same, no 2 minutes are the same. I could be sitting
Mhm.
on the sofa and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden I could try and get up, and then my body's just gone tense and cold. And it's just, you just don't know what's going to happen next, is it? It's it's, you would think it was a lovely mystery, but it's really not, you know. The other day
Mhm.
I was in, we were away for our wedding anniversary, and I fell over. I fall over a lot. It's like it seems to be a sport for me. It's falling over. And although I was pretty shaken, I've got a graze on my knee like a 10-year-old, and my shoulders hurt, which they only hurt after the last time I fell over. But the next day, come lunchtime the next day, I could hardly sit down. I was in so much agony trying to sit down. All the legs in my muscles in my leg were burning. And
Mhm.
we were going to the theatre the next day, in the evening, and I managed to sit through half of it, and we had to leave because we were coming home
Mhm.
the day after, and I didn't think I could sit in the car for the 3-hour car journey to come home, because I was in so much agony, and they had the aircon on, the heater, and in the theatre, and um, it as soon as my body gets cold, it's my bones that get cold, and you can't warm them up. And it's things
Yeah.
like that, silly little things you take for granted. And although
Mhm.
I look fit and well on the outside, I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a little
You know
wreck.
what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laugh it off sometimes, but I'm a little wreck, really.
Mhm. Well, it's amazing that you managed to get the writing done when you've got all this going on. And I really appreciate you sharing those personal details with us. So, do you plan any more books in the Green Grove setting, Helen?
Yeah, I'm working on, well, she says, when her brain's working, because that's the other thing with fibro, my brain doesn't always tune in. Add that to my dyslexia, it's even worse. But I'm working on Dawn's twin sister Debbie's story. Um,
Nice.
I'm working on that, and there's a novella I'm hoping to bring out soon before Christmas on
Hmm.
James and Lacey's wedding. That was A little bit of that was featured in the Authors of the Armory's anthology, which I did in June this year. So
Hmm.
that's coming out. Uh, yeah, so, and I'm hoping to work on Alan and Charlotte's story, which is
Hmm.
Connor's mum. And that's because they're older people, but their story's been going on for a long time, because
Hmm.
Connor's dad died. He was a police officer, and he died of a heart attack while on duty. So, um, um, and Alan was Connor's dad's partner and has supported his mum throughout. So, their story, a little bit of their story is in Hold Me, because Connor didn't
Yeah.
take very happy to the fact that he was going to get engaged to his mum. So, I'm hoping to write their story too.
Oh, wow. So, lots more to look forward to from Green Grove then.
Yeah, hopefully. I've got all these ideas. Whether or not my fingers can work fast enough is neither here nor there.
So book news there, but are there any events you'd like to take the opportunity to plug, Helen?
Yeah, so I'm going to be signing my books in the Romance in the North at the Hilton in Leeds on the 11th of October,
Mhm.
and the Black Country Book Con in it's near Dudley on the 27th of October. And then because you can't see me sitting here in my little house in North Yorkshire, I'm going to also be authors behind doors at Shrewsbury Prison, which is a lovely old prison that is no longer a prison, thankfully, on
Mhm.
the 2nd of November. So lots to look forward to, and loads of different buildings to go and view
Oh
because,
yeah,
as you know,
they
I
all
like
sound wonderful
history.
and spread out as well. So people in
Yeah,
different areas will be able to see you.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
And Helen also has a book signing this coming Saturday between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the Hippie and the Witch in Wellington Square, Stockton-on-Tees. That's a brilliant opportunity for you to meet her and get signed copies of all the books in her Green Grove series. So thank you so much for joining us today, Helen. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks very much.